Yo, what's up YouTube? We've got an exciting video today and one that's kind of been a long time coming as we've got an unboxing and an initial impressions on my latest purchase, which is the Tamron 35-150 f2 to f2.8 zoom lens for Sony E Mount. I've loved Tamron's lenses ever since I got into the Sony ecosystem. Started off with the original 28-75 f2.8 and this one, when it was announced, really piqued my interest because it's such a versatile focal length range. You could go through any event with it and it gives you that f2 on the wide end. The reason I've not bought it up until now, partly because for a long time it was sold out. Secondly, because if I'm doing photography gigs, I would tend to favour a dual harness and have two prime lenses, maybe a 24 and a 50 or a 35 and a 50 as my two focal length preferences for most cases. And for video, I'm usually on a 24 on the gimbal and a handheld around 50, maybe up to 85 or a cheeky 135 when it fits. So although I love the Tamron lenses, it had never been one that I thought, yeah, that I need that in my kit. But this year, I've started offering hybrid coverage at weddings where I'll be doing photo and video, and I've taken in a few bookings for them over the next couple of years as well. And that's something that I'm interested to see if I can promote and push. I think the market is gonna, with the recession and cost of living, I think people will be more interested in a hybrid package than paying X for a photographer and Y for a videographer separately. So if that's where I'm potentially going, having one lens for photo only and the other lens on my other camera for video only was a viable option for taking up this Tamron. And then the other reason I thought it was going to be worthwhile, even though I don't do too many for hybrid coverage at the moment, is any that I do for photography, I have found in the past, particularly in the ceremony, that you can sometimes be quite limited on where you're able to go. And I don't like to be too intrusive when I'm photographing weddings, so if I can have the versatility of a zoom that covers such a unique range there, that ticks a lot of boxes for me. Sometimes I've found at weddings with a prime, you can be in that sort of no man's land between maybe an 85 or a 135 will be too tight at some places, but then a 50 might not be wide enough at others and whatnot. So having that versatility of the zoom in situations where you're a little bit more limited on how much you can move around or how much you'd want to move around, I decided to bite the bullet and go for it. So I'm going to do a little unboxing today and first impressions, and this is really genuine. I haven't actually opened this yet. You can see here the seal is still there on the box. I did initially, when it arrived and I unboxed it, I did pull it up like this for a cheeky look, but I realized this wee tag thing was on it, and I thought, you know what, I'll just go and set up the video stuff and do a proper unboxing and first impressions. Now, one thing I am quite interested to, or was a concern and still sort of is the sheer weight of this lens. Got all your sort of booklets and stuff here. Nobody reads any of that, do they? So one thing I am still concerned about is just how heavy this lens is going to be, because I am used to the Samyang 50mm 1.4 and the 24mm 1.8, both of which are particularly light lenses. So this one, we'll see what I think. Quite compactly boxed in here, which is great. I'll get rid of the box there. Shows it's been well taken care of in transit. It's got a wee bit of heft to it, but do you know what? It's actually doesn't feel as heavy as I was initially thinking. Obviously, feeling it from the back, there is a fair bit of heft to it, and the weight is quite forward on it. A beautiful looking lens though. I really like this new design that Tamron's gone with, the sort of more rigidy, bumpy sort of surface compared to their original design with a G1 28-75. I am selling, I've got a 28-75 G2 now, but I am going to be selling that because that was typically my one and done lens for photography, but for 75mm in a ceremony, I think sometimes can be a little bit too short, so I wanted to pick something up that covered it all. So yeah, that's the outside of the lens. You've got the zoom ring there, quite stiff on the zoom ring, which I'm in two minds. I don't know whether I prefer that or not. I think that'll encourage less zoom creep if you don't lock it, which I typically wouldn't use the zoom lock that it's got, just because weddings, you're kind of fast paced. You're probably going to want to quickly throw it up, grab a shot. The custom switches are nice features, and the USB connection here for plugging into the computer and setting the custom buttons to whatever you want, or the focus ring speed to whatever you want. But for me, I tend to stick with the focus hold buttons as being focus hold buttons. Don't typically use them. I would probably make use of the autofocus manual focus switch, particularly if I ever use this lens for video. I still have the 70-180, which will typically be my tripod lens for video during the speeches, and this will still be my photo camera if I'm doing hybrid coverage. But if this turns out to be sharper at the long end, I might end up switching out when I'm doing video only to using this for the ceremonies when I'm just doing video. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's mount it onto a camera and see how it feels. So quite a difference there between the little Samyang 24mm and this big behemoth beast here that has got a fair bit of weight to it. But that's a sort of trade-off and a con that I've kind of accepted is going to be the case if I was picking up this lens. So first, mounting onto the camera there, get the lens cap off. Big, I think 82mm filter thread, which I don't have any 82mm, so that's another reason I probably won't use this for much video. Is it's another filter set to invest in, which can be a bit annoying. But yeah, look at that beautiful lens there. Brilliant design from Tamron. Feels quite good. Again, quite stiff there. There's like a less resistance from say 35 up to 70, and then it maybe to about 100. Then there's just a wee bit there where it just sort of stiffens up a wee bit. But I'm a strong boy. I can cope with that. So yeah, that is my wee quick first look unboxing. Don't get any lens creep at the moment. And yeah, interestingly, one thing I was also wondering about was, would I be able to, my plan is when I'm doing dual coverage and photoing and videoing at the same time, a couple of the moments that are going to be quite challenging are when the couple are walking down the aisle at the end of the ceremony. I'll have my gimbal in one hand, so I've actually got a new gimbal. That DJI RS3 Mini is, oh my god, so light. So that is going to be a dream to work with at weddings. My previous gimbal, the Ronin S, had the side handles on it, and what a weight that thing came out as. So the RS3 Mini, I think is the model name. That in one hand with a Samyang 24 and an A7 IV is going to be really easy. And I was wondering, would I be able to handhold this at 35mm to get a nice wide shot of the couple coming down the aisle? Or would I need to be switching out to say my Samyang 50 or the Sony 35-1.8 that's currently filming on here? And to be honest, that's manageable. And for all the time that they would just be walking down the aisle, it's not really putting a lot of strain on my wrist. So that could be a viable option, just to stick with this pretty much the whole day. So if you're interested to see how I get on with this, stick around. I've got a couple of plans for it. I'm hoping to do some indoor sports photography with this lens as well, and maybe do some GoPro type behind the scenes sort of shots of that. I know the Aberdeen cheerleaders are happy enough for me to come along, I think, to one or two of their training sessions. So we'll see how that goes, and yeah, look forward to seeing how I get on for my first few hybrid coverage weddings of 2023. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned if you'd like to see more.